I'd just finished 3 weeks of grueling work at my sister's place, hoping for a simple thank you. Instead, I overheard her chatting with her mother-in-law. "It's great having someone so gullible who'll toil for free," she said. The next morning, she probably wished she'd kept her mouth shut. Even now, my face flushes thinking about it like it happened yesterday. My hands trembled as I wrote this. I hadn't meant to say anything. I planned to stay quiet. But sometimes something gnaws at you until you can't hold it in. 3 weeks, 21 days of sanding, scraping, rebuilding. A complete overhaul of my sister's new home. Stacy and her fiancé tied the knot a month earlier. Big wedding, tons of guests, all the fanfare. Everyone was all grins, toasting to new beginnings. My parents and I gave them the ultimate gift, a house. Not a lease, not some rundown fixer-upper to stress over, but a solid, proper home. My parents covered most of it, and I chipped in $100,000 from my savings. They didn't hesitate. They didn't ask me to. I insisted. No expectations, I just wanted to help. The place needed serious work, though stuff you can't fake with a YouTube tutorial. So I took leave from work and got to it. Rewired the entire kitchen. Replaced every pipe in the bathroom, new flooring, cabinets, countertops, backsplash, appliances. The bathroom was gutted to the frame. 2 new vanities, new lighting, a tub I hauled in after standing in the rain for hours. This wasn't a facelift, it was a transformation. And I did it solo. I wasn't expecting a parade. I didn't need her shouting my praises to everyone, just basic respect. A thank you? Maybe a drink while I worked. Something. Instead, I got Karen, her mother-in-law. Stacy's fiancé's mom showed up the first week, strutting around like she was in charge. She'd wander in her tacky designer boots, pointing at walls, saying, "I'd move the fridge there." Or, "Gold faucets would have been classier," like she was an interior designer and I was her lackey. I mostly ignored her, irritating but manageable, or so I thought. By the end of the 3rd week, I'd just finished sealing the upstairs tub, the finish line in sight. The house looked incredible, pristine, gleaming, ready for life. I was proud. Just a final cleanup, a few tweaks, and I'd be done. Then I heard voices. At first, I thought it was neighbors. Windows were open, but the words grew clearer, closer. Then I realized Stacy and Karen were downstairs in the kitchen, chatting, oblivious. I was still there. That's when I heard it. Stacy, my sister, laughed and said, "Thank heavens for fools like him who'll bust their butts for nothing." Just like that, like I was invisible. Karen jumped right in, cooing, "That's my smart girl. You know how to play people." I stood there, stunned. First shock, then burning anger. Then this heavy ache in my chest. My mind raced in every direction all those hours. The money, the sweat, the bruises. For this, I wanted to destroy the bathroom, rip out the cabinets, smash the faucet with a hammer. I could have done it in seconds, but I didn't. I went back to the bathroom, stood there, hands balled into fists. Then I exhaled, picked up my tools, and started undoing my work. Subtly, not obviously, just enough to cause problems later. Loosened a drain pipe to leak slowly. Unstuck a few tiles, scratched the stove's finish. Hidden until they used it. I kept working like nothing happened. When I came downstairs later, they were leaving. Stacy said they'd stay at her in-laws that night. I said I'd lock up after final checks. They left. And I made sure they'd regret every word. The next morning, my phone blew up. 8 missed calls from Stacy by 9 a.m. Texts poured in. "What's wrong with the bathroom? Why's the fridge reeking? Are you messing with us?" I ignored them, let them panic. By 10:30, the tone changed. "Fix this now, you owe us." Karen's furious. Karen left a voicemail ranting about lawsuits. I actually laughed. An hour later, they showed up at my door. Stacy acting baffled, Karen in full tantrum mode. They threw accusations. "Explain the sink, what's with the fridge? The oven's jinxed." All while pretending they'd done nothing wrong. I said I was finished, that I'd heard every word. That Stacy's fool brother had ears, and now he was done. Karen scoffed about maturity. I told her to take her precious daughter and son-in-law and leave. Then I closed the door. I drove straight to my parents, told them everything. Played the voicemail, repeated their insults. Dad just nodded, face hard. Mom was furious, not just at Stacy's words, but her audacity. We called Stacy together, told her the house wasn't hers anymore, not legally, not after this. She could stay with Karen since she valued her so much. Regret hit fast. Her texts turned to, "It was a joke. Can we talk?" Still no real apology, just fear masquerading as remorse. I didn't respond later. Karen, her son, Stacy's husband Matt, and Stacy stormed into my parents' house, demanding to talk. Karen's fake concern was laughable. Dad shut her down. "You insulted my son, exploited our kindness, and now you want to chat?" The kicker, the deed was only in Dad's name. Stacy had lied to Matt, saying it'd be theirs after the wedding. Karen's jaw dropped. Matt stared at Stacy. Stacy looked at the floor. Mom gave them 2 days to get out before we'd change the locks. Karen rambled about family. Dad laughed, a sharp, bitter sound, and slammed the door. We sold the house months later. Stacy didn't reach out until I ran into her at the store. She looked rough. No Karen, no Matt, just her, muttering, "I left Karen." She admitted Karen had manipulated her, that Matt had divorced her, that she'd trusted the wrong people. She apologized quietly, no theatrics. She asked if we could mend things. I said I wasn't sure, that the bridge she'd let Karen torch wasn't just damaged, it was gone. And that's where we stand. The air between us at the grocery store was heavier than the muggy calm before a thunderstorm. Stacy stood there, her shoulders sagging under an oversized hoodie, looking like she hadn't slept well in months. The bold woman who'd mocked having a fool to do her work was gone, replaced by this worn-out version of my sister. "I don't know what to say," she whispered, fidgeting with a frayed thread on her sleeve. The store's harsh lights highlighted the shadows under her eyes. I didn't either. The anger had faded into something else, not forgiveness, not yet, but maybe the start of understanding. Karen's venom had poisoned everything, and Stacy had been too blind or too eager to please to notice. "You look exhausted," I said, not a peace offering, just a fact. She let out a dry laugh that sounded more like a sigh. "That's one way to put it." Her gaze flicked to the freezer case, then back to me. "Matt's gone, filed for annulment, said living with Karen was like being stuck in a warped reality show." I nodded, recalling how Matt had shown up at my job months ago, that frantic look in his eyes. He'd seen the truth too late, just like Stacy was seeing it now. The store's intercom blared about a sale on chicken, its cheery tone clashing with our heavy silence. Stacy shifted her weight, that old nervous tic she'd had since we were kids. "Mom and Dad?" she started, then stopped, swallowing hard. "Are they?" I shook my head, not ready. The words came out softer than I meant. Maybe not ever, honestly. Her face fell for a moment before she masked it with that careful blankness. "Yeah, I figured." A pause. "I'm staying with Jen from accounting now." Her couch folds out. The thought of my sister, the bride who'd gotten a house as a wedding gift, crashing on a pull-out couch should have felt like karma. Instead, it just felt heavy. The store's automatic doors hissed open and shut as shoppers passed by. A kid in the next aisle whined for ice cream. Normal life swirled around us while we stood in our bubble of ruin. "I should," Stacy gestured vaguely toward the fruit section, already stepping back. That same old dodge, the way she'd always slipped out of hard talks. "Yeah," I said, not stopping her. I watched her walk away, her shoes squeaking on the floor. She paused once halfway down the aisle, shoulders stiff like she might turn back. But she didn't. I finished shopping in a fog, the encounter looping in my mind. At the register, the cashier chatted about the rain as she scanned my items. I nodded, my replies automatic. Outside, the sunlight was blinding. I loaded my groceries into the car and sat there, hands on the steering wheel. The house was sold. The money split, the legal mess sorted. But this, seeing Stacy again, made it all raw again. My phone pinged a text from Mom. "Dinner tonight? Dad's firing up the grill." Normalcy, routine, the life we'd pieced back together after the fallout. I typed back a quick sure and started the car. As I pulled out of the lot, I caught a glimpse of Stacy through the store window, staring at a stack of apples like they held all the answers. The light turned green. I drove off. I saw Stacy one last time 6 months later at our aunt's funeral. She sat in the back, hunched, looking smaller than I remembered. The shadows under her eyes had deepened, her once vibrant hair now dull and tied in a messy knot. Our eyes met during the service, just for a moment. She looked away first. After the burial, as people mingled with plates of sandwiches, I found her alone by the dessert table, poking at a piece of cake she wasn't eating. "Hey," I said. She jumped, nearly dropping her plate. "Hey." An awkward silence hung between us. The last time we'd talked was in the store, that halting exchange about Karen and Matt. Now, months later, the gap felt wider. "You look okay?" she said finally, her words cautious. I shrugged. "I am." Another pause. Around us, relatives laughed, shared stories, remembered the funeral home smelled of lilies and coffee. Stacy set her plate down, untouched. "I'm moving," she blurted, "to Colorado. Got a job at a ski resort cleaning rooms, but it's something." I nodded. "That's good." She twisted her hands, knuckles pale. I needed to get away from all of it. I got it. The house was gone. Karen had turned on her. Matt had left. Our parents wouldn't answer her calls. There was nothing left for her here. "I hope it's better there," I said. She let out a shaky breath. "Yeah, me too." We stood there, two strangers who'd once been family. The air was heavy with all we hadn't said. The pain, the betrayal, the years we'd never reclaim. Then softly she said, "I really am sorry." It was her first real apology. No excuses, no pointing fingers at Karen, just 3 small words. I didn't say it was okay because it wasn't, but I did say, "I know." She nodded, eyes shining, and turned to go. I watched her walk away, her figure shrinking until she vanished into the crowd. That was the last time I saw my sister. Sometimes, when the air turns crisp, I wonder if she's staring at the same gray clouds from wherever she is now. If she ever thinks about the house, the wedding, or the brother who spent 3 weeks fixing something that was broken long before he started. But I don't reach out, and neither does she. If this story moved you, please give it a like, share it with others, and follow for more real-life stories and heartfelt experiences. Your support means everything, and it helps us share more stories like this. Thank you for reading, and I'll see you in the next one.